areas where the saturation with water determines the development of soil and the types of plants and animals that live in that environment. Although wetlands only cover a small portion of the globe, they store almost 20% of the Earth's terrestrial carbon. This means that their destruction could potentially accelerate the process of global warming. Wetlands contain some of the most productive ecosystems on our planet, and according to Think Global Green, are comparable to coral reefs and tropical rainforests in productivity. The function of wetlands are described by experts at the Defenders of Wildlife Foundation, who compare wetlands to the kidneys of surrounding ecosystems, filtering, cleaning, and storing water. Whether a wetland is a swamp, bog, marsh, or everglade is determined by the salinity of the water, the soil type, and the plants and animals living in the wetland.
Down to Florida, we welcome you to the Sunshine State. They're kicking back and soaking up the rays every day in Florida. I'm in Florida.
The Florida Everglades are located in southern Florida just outside Miami. They stretch 50 miles wide and over 100 miles long, making it the largest subtropical ecosystem in America. Because of southern Florida's geography, being near the equator and surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico, it's often hit with tropical storms and hurricanes. This, coupled with the wet season rains and the Everglades' geological structure of porous limestone, it's able to retain large amounts of water year-round. The climate of South Florida is subtropical and monsoonal in nature, with average high temperatures in the summer or wet season of 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 70 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter or dry season. Southern Florida faces very dry winters and hot, moist summers, consisting of an average rainfall of 50 to 60 inches per year.
One of the Everglades' primary features is the sawgrass marshes that make up the Everglades. They are often referred to as the River of Grass, and they support biodiversity of the Everglades by producing habitats for much of the animal life. For instance, the American alligator uses the sawgrass to build nests. When the Everglades were formed, it was under flooded conditions. These wet conditions made it impossible for organic material to decompose, which has led to the organic soil that can be found here today. The natural supply of nutrients comes from the decomposition of organic matter and is enhanced by the subtropical climate in the Florida Everglades. These conditions have made it possible to grow fruit, vegetables, other crops, and allow a rich natural biodiversity.
The Florida Everglades, however, are facing a major problem of invasive species. Invasive plants and fish species are wreaking havoc on the ecosystem, with many invasive fish eating native fish species, and the growth of Melaleuca trees which block out the sun's rays from reaching indigenous plants. Exotic plants such as Brazilian pepper tree, Melaleuca, Old World climbing fern, and the Chinese privet invaded 1.5 million acres of the Everglades through wildfires and altering water flows. One invasive animal species, the Burmese python, was introduced to the Everglades by pet owners who released it into the Everglades on accident and/or intentionally. The Burmese python is a particularly devastating invasive species, as they feed on many different types of mammals and birds in the Everglades, and sometimes even alligators. These pythons are dramatically altering the food web of the Everglades and severely impacting the environment.